Look at what just came in the mail this time. Gonna have fun with these. So there is this guy that used to live in my old neighborhood, the old homeowner association neighborhood that I lived in, where I started my business. But before I started my lawn care business and I was still in retail management, you know, I knew a lot of neighbors and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you have those like know-it-all neighbors that seem to know everything. And we lived in a maintenance-free part of that neighborhood that also, you know, so the same company that took care of the maintenance-free area that we lived in also took care of like all the common areas in that neighborhood. And I remember hearing, you know, somebody like a neighbor complaining about like the job that the company, the lawn care company did, you know, in for all the common areas and our you know, particular living area that we lived in the neighborhood. And they had just kind of threw in there, geez, you know, the guy that works for this company lives in this area, lives in our neighborhood. You'd think that, you know, they do a great job, which if you think about it, that doesn't always connect. You know, what does that person do for that company, you know, and do they even have real say-so? Are they even paying attention? Is it even their job or whatever? But because this was the biggest, well, now it's the biggest, it was one of the biggest companies in the entire industry for lawn care and landscaping. Now it is the biggest. So it's a huge company, you know, and who knows what role he had at that company. But come to find out, he had a high role, like an executive role. He was like a territory manager or whatever. He had his own car. Because when I started my lawn care business, I happened to take on a couple of yards literally across the street from where he lived. So I always saw his little white, whatever it was, car. You know, it was like a small compact car, a company car that had the logo on there of the company. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the guy, that's the company, wow. So clearly, you know, he drives that car around doing whatever. I doubt he's driving that car. I doubt he drove that car around following up on the guys, you know, to look like, you know, when I saw him getting in and out of his car a few times. He always had a briefcase, a polo. He looked very, very sophisticated, very executive looking, right? So he was probably higher up than that. He was probably like a territory manager or a regional sales manager or something like that, that was in charge of a lot more than just the guys taking care of that property that we lived in. It was probably the last thing on his mind, especially when he takes care, you know, he lived in the section that you take care of your own yard, and he mowed his own lawn and all that. So then over the years, you know, like I said, I started my lawn care business. I saw that, put two and two together, but they are the neighborhood I lived in since changed companies and went to a local company, still a big company, but local, not a national company like the one that was taking care of our neighborhood at the time. And, you know, they still continue to complain. It seemed like, honestly, you know, I at one point I said to them, once I started my business and got into lawn care professionally and started to understand things even more, you know, I always kind of felt like that was unfair to say that, you know, before. But once I got into this business, I felt even more so that was probably unfair. And I was just like, you know, you guys should probably just like stick with one company for more than one season and kind of stop complaining and just share your concerns, have a relationship with these people, and see how it goes for more than a year. Stop changing every year, going to the next lowest bidder. That's your problem right there. I mean, you just keep finding the next cheapest company, and all you do is complain. So why don't you pay a little bit more, stick with someone for more than a year, and you might actually be happier and get better results. But, you know, no one's going to listen to me, obviously, and whatever. So they just keep getting new companies. Actually, you know, I don't live there anymore. A large percentage of my accounts are still in that neighborhood, so I'm always in there. I'm in there twice a week, every week. So, you know, for just mowing lawns, and then sometimes we're in there just doing other things, whether it's mulch season or pruning shrubs or aerating and seeding, clean up leaves or whatever, like outside of the mowing, outside and above and beyond the mowing schedule. So I'm always in there, and I see, you know, the past couple of years they have had the same large local company. So that's good. I'm glad that they finally found someone that they're happy with, and they, you know, there's a mutual relationship going on, you know, because I mean, I'm sure they were probably very difficult to work with too. So in some cases, maybe those lawn care companies were like, forget you, I'm not going to deal with this. So I'm happy that it seems to be working out for both parties. The company that guy worked for merged with another large company and now is the largest company in the industry. And he no longer works there anymore. I saw his sales car go from no logo to no car, like just disappeared. And then all of a sudden he started, I saw him kind of in other surrounding neighborhoods, like similar ones that I'm in, pulling a trailer with a big zero turn, like a Skag Cheetah or something on it, with his little Toyota Tundra, and he's mowing lawns. And I'm like, look at this guy, is that the same guy? So it took some time to figure out, and we've seen each other around, and it's just like every story and every person that I've connected with on YouTube, he might actually even see this video sooner or later, which is why I'm not using names or being very specific. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible and not air out anyone's dirty laundry. But the fact of the matter is, he used to work for what is now the biggest lawn and landscape company. Multiple $1 million, I didn't look it up before doing this video, what their last year revenue or what they're trending this year, but huge, millions and millions of dollars a year. And now he's mowing lawns by himself. He's mowing lawns solo. I just see him every day. Not every day. It's kind of like, it reminds me of me when I first started, to be honest. He's living me. He's living me when I first started. And I'm really making this video because I saw him again today, but without the trailer, with a bike rack and a mountain bike on the back of his truck, leaving, you know, the neighborhood while we were finishing up our long day mowing lawns. And I'm like, man, he really is me. That was me. I used to go mountain biking all the time, like whenever I felt like it, in between stuff. Like, man, it's a beautiful day today. It's almost 80 degrees. It's been cold for the past week and rainy. It's dry, sunny, beautiful. Let's go for a mountain bike ride. But I can't do that as easily anymore because I have a full day worth of work scheduled for today. I can't just play hooky and, not, cancel my employees' work. And there's a lot more responsibility now. I have employees to take care of. They take care of me. We get the job done. We take care of my clients, our clients, which takes care of my bills, my family, my business. It's a whole lot. So it's a lot more now than just driving around with a truck and trailer, mowing as many lawns as I can get, which is which isn't even enough for a full week's worth of work. But it allowed me so much more time for myself and for family. So it kind of made me like bittersweet, right? Like, that's awesome that he's doing that, that he kind of went from one end of the spectrum to the other. Good for him. He's getting after it. And he's doing stuff that I used to be able to do. So for me, it's like, how can I, I'm in the middle here, right? I'm not solo. I'm definitely not $1 million company by any means, nor is that my goal, but it makes me realize how, I really want to go mountain bike riding sometimes, so I just need to plan and schedule accordingly, make sure I'm protecting those kind of things and not allowing myself to get too ahead of myself, too caught up in the growing, like focus on the goal, constantly look at my goals and make sure I'm staying on track. I'm not getting off track because I want to be big and bad and all this stuff or whatever. We get caught up in the glitz and glamour of everything. Not that there's much glitz and glamour in lawn and landscape, right? But I mean, like, the big shiny new equipment and trucks and trailers and all that stuff. To us, that's glitz and glamour, right? I don't want to get caught up and carried away in that stuff. I want to focus on what do I need to keep growing my business and stay focused on that. And try and make sure that I'm not losing track of the other things personally that I love and enjoy. Obviously my family, but what about things that I want to do, like mountain bike riding, going to the gym, meeting up with other lawn and landscape guys and girls in my area and just having a lunch or a dinner, going out for a drink and just kind of networking and letting loose and just having a good time. Those are important things to do. And this guy is doing that stuff right now because he went from one extreme to the other, like I did. Retail management, 15 plus years, working all day, every day, 6 days a week usually. I felt like I had no life. There was no quality of life. I finally had enough and had a mental breakdown and quit and went all in into lawn care, which I started doing it for a year prior to that part-time to kind of get my feet wet. And it was a good transition for me to realize that I needed to stop. I needed to get out of retail and go into lawn care. And then I did that full time, and I haven't looked back ever since. Anyway, don't lose focus on your goals, I guess, is, you know, the ultimate point of this video. You know, it's money isn't everything. You got to find your sweet spot and what works for you. Some people can be happy making $100,000 a year. Some people can be happy making $500,000 a year. Some people could be happy making $60,000 a year. And obviously many are happy making millions of dollars a year. So it just depends on what you want and what you can handle, and everyone's different. Don't do what everyone else does. Do what you can do.